You are listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio Network, from our compound to you worldwide, with your host, Gary Anderson.
And that is me. Well, you know what? Aliens. You know, when you really think about this, I tell you what, maybe your next door could be one. Because, you know, this whole thing of abductions has been going on for centuries, if not even more longer. And so I just can't believe they're abducting people, taking their DNA, putting their fingers down their throat to come out their ear for the fun of it. Is this going on a regular basis? And it seems like more people are stepping out of the closet, and not that type of closet, but coming out of the closet and saying, hey, I was abducted. And it's scary. And some of these people, again, like Terry Lovelace, you know, we have everything from attorneys to doctors to lawyers, judges even, very credible people coming forward saying they were abducted. So why are they being abducted? I'm sure, you know, maybe we're nothing but a class how to dissect humans. I don't know.
Yeah, that's just it. We don't know. It's scary stuff. I don't even know if we want to know if we did find out. And I don't even know where to go with this stuff. I do know there's no defense against it. There's none.
No, like we were talking last night. You know, soft disclosure. I agree with what he said. Our guest said that, you know, the government is giving out a little bit at a regular basis, a soft disclosure, you know, to brainwash us, to get us where we're, you know, when the big shock comes, we're not, you know, rioting and burning down cities. But I really think that it scares me. You know, we can go to war with other countries. We can do all this type of stuff and do, you know, mutilation through war. But when you come down to like aliens and stuff like that, do we actually have the equipment, the technology to protect ourselves against them? If they are 10,000 years ahead of us, 100,000 years ahead of us, or even 1,000 years ahead of us, I don't think we would have the technology. I mean, maybe we could put up a fight for a while, but, you know, maybe I watched too many shows on Sci-Fi Channel, but it scares me. And I think, you know, giving small disclosure a little bit at a time is setting us up for it. That's all.
Yeah, I don't even know how that's even going to come across, but I do feel that our government military is not going to come out and say, yeah, we've known this all along, because then some heads going to be liable for a lot of alleged money that they lied about. So that's not going to happen. Plus, they'll lose face. So, you know, they're backed in a corner of what they call soft disclosure, so to speak, and we can only hope that someday we learn more and more. But even at that, what are we going to do with the information? I think we're all just helpless. I mean, really, I even think the military is helpless, even though they can make, you know, deals with them. It's like us going back 300 years ago with a cigarette lighter and say, hey, yeah, we'll trade this technology to you. They're not going to give us anything that we can use against them.
Yeah, you want some shiny beads?
Yeah, that's right. That's where it all started, and then we end up probably giving them blankets that's got smallpox on them.
Yeah, or bed bugs. But anyway, if you think about it, it's scary because, yeah, maybe we have technology, maybe we have a space force, but then again, unless we have some way to create gravity and all this stuff on the space ships, that if we have them, that would mimic Earth, people only can survive so long in space before things start happening. One is they get shorter. Two, their muscles, even if exercising on a regular basis, they still lose muscle strength and muscle, volume. The same with the heart. The heart actually gets smaller. The brain physically even gets smaller. They figured somebody who's been in space for 6 months to a year, their brain shrinks a little bit, and it doesn't come back.
Yeah, and I don't believe, I mean, you can look at the data. It shows that the human body was not made to be in space. Your DNA change, your muscle, your bones start to break down. So how can we ever think about going to Mars on a 5 to 5.5 year mission round trip?
Well, it's like we were going to go back to Mars, but now we don't have the budget. To go to the moon, I should say. And then we talk about Mars. Well, I think maybe commercially somebody will go to Mars. I don't think NASA will, or be at least the first ones. Because
I don't think we're.
I don't see the point of it. Why?
No.
You might as well go to Nevada and go in the middle of the desert.
Maybe that's what they'll do anyway and film it and say we were on Mars. But
yeah, I can see it. I can see they're going to the middle of the desert, Nevada, right? And they're saying we're on Mars, and they start digging in the desert, right? And they bring up bones.
Yeah. Look what we found. But
yeah, Jimmy Hoffa.
It makes no sense. And I've even heard a report where NASA said they lost the technology to even get back to the moon. So what's that mean?
Well, we gave all our technology. Getting rid of our shuttlecraft and all, I don't know. The things we do, this is so, well, I don't know. But could you imagine if the government came out and even for the next 10 years, now there's some people that think hard disclosure is going to come out this year. Steve Bassett thinks it's going to come all out this year. I don't think so. He's been, it's not going to happen.
No, I don't believe so. I've been waiting for it to happen since the late 70s as a young child or middle child or whatever, but it's never happened. Every year is always something. I remember watching a documentary in the mid-70s about Bigfoot and UFOs and will it come out, and been waiting ever since then, but it never comes to fruition. And I don't think at this point it ever will. It can't, because too many people will lose face and too many heads will be liable, and I just don't see that happening.
It's not that. Think about this, okay? The only way they're going to do it is be soft disclosure. And at this rate it's going to take years and years. What it's going to take, like I said, one of these days a UFO is going to crash. Okay? And it's not going to crash somewhere in, South Africa, for example, where one's supposed to crash and we're supposed to retrieve the craft. But I mean, in other places where they supposedly crashed, like Roswell. But sometime it's going to happen where it's going to be in a populated area. Then the government, what are they going to do? They're going to come back and say, oh, this must be from this country. But the thing is that we have been lied to so long and manipulated so long that if the government came out tomorrow and said, yes, there is UFOs, yes, 60,000 people in this country are vanishing a year, we don't know where they're going to. They could be going for lunch on the planet Uranus. I mean, let's face it. I mean, people would panic. Now, my guest last night didn't think people would. I saw what happened in Watts. Okay? And it didn't take much before, you had a mass riot. People, all of a sudden, if they said, hey, there is aliens, they are taking people. Not just, abducting them and returning them and implanting. They're actually taking them, and we don't know what they're doing with them. Or if they started saying, well, here's the pictures of human mutilations, and all of a sudden it started coming out on the news, you don't think people would not freak out?
Oh, I do. I think that's one of the main reasons they don't come out with it, because I think society would break down. I really do. People would break down. I can see that scenario 100%.
But would you trust your government if they came out and said that after all these years? Oh, it was a weather balloon. Okay, well, a little fact on this one. I did research. Okay, if it was a weather balloon, when they came back a few years ago, and the Air Force said, oh, yeah, it was just a weather balloon, the Roswell, when they, were kind of forced to talk about it, and they started showing even, the material. We didn't have Mylar back when Roswell happened. The weather balloons were made out of rubber. Duh.
Yeah, well, right. And then they even tried to say, I think a couple of the excuses was it was that Project Mogul, but that didn't come out till about 4 or 5 years later with the dummies and stuff. So that timeline didn't line up either.
Oh, no. And I mean, and why, if that all came out, why would they have went to the town? The chief of police, the fire, chief, and the mortician, and all these people of authority, and tell them that you can't talk about it or else. The guys in the black suits were there. And then they kind of like threaten people. Anybody that saw anything, the wreckage of it, the bits of metal, they were threatened. Something bad would happen to them and their family. Now, if it was just a weather balloon, why would the government do that?
A bit drastic, isn't it? That's like getting an electric chair for jaywalking. That's a little extreme. For that, I agree totally. And the thing is, they lied about the lie. So what's that tell you? When somebody lies about a lie, that usually tells you that it's all lies.
Yeah, and then it's compounded a lie after lie after lie, year in and year out. And let's face it, I mean, why would, if they see a UFO and it's reported, why do they scramble jets out? If it's and the thing what also really I was frustrated last night is that the government looks at these UFOs as, well, they're not going to really cause any problem with the airspace. I disagree with that, because there has been cases where they have dispatched fighters when they got one of these blimps of a UFO and the plane vanished or it crashed. So,
yeah, I mean, well, you can go back to I forget the year, I think it was 52 or somewhere in the early 50s, but that Robert Mantell in Kentucky chased that UFO and he crashed and died. There's been others that crashed and died, and others that's been linked to it but couldn't prove it was UFOs. But there's a long, throughout the years of these incidents happening, and anything that could come into your airspace and you don't know it till they're right there, or they can do whatever they want and you can't do nothing about it, that's a threat. I don't care how you look at that, that's a threat.
Well, yeah, I mean, put it this way, even on that Nimitz 2004, those pilots, they did their best to try to catch that UFO, even with their afterburners fired up. It was like, going after somebody in a wheelchair going against a car has a Hemi in it and is at full bore. I mean, come on. That was the most illogical thing to even compare that. I mean, we don't have the